We have a bombshell admission coming from the New York Times as the media's coup against President Trump has been exposed. In this video, we're going to look at the belated admission by the Times that the Hunter Biden laptop is, surprise, surprise, authentic. We're going to see how pundits are calling out the media's coup against President Trump, and stick to the very end of this video when I'll reveal why the days of the mainstream media influencing public opinion are indeed coming to an end. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your daily fake news antidote. So come on into your Patriot Professor's Den, where I help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. If you haven't done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe. Before we begin, as you can see, I've got my Think It's Still Legal t-shirt on, and you can get yours by clicking on that link below and visiting our awesome merch store that has all kinds of t-shirts and swags for you and the patriot in your life. Many of you have asked how you can support this channel, and really the best way to do it is to just grab some awesome Patriot merch at our online store. We got our super cool line of Let's Go Brandon shirts, as well as our brand new Freedom Trucker shirts. Your purchases will, of course, be spreading Patriot hope as well as supporting this channel. So make sure to click on that link below or go to store.turleytalks.com. That's store.turleytalks.com. Okay, gang, let's dive right in here. It's being widely reported, but most triumphantly by the New York Post, that the New York Times, a year and a half after the story broke, a year and a half, the Times has finally admitted that the infamous Hunter Biden laptop is, in fact, authentic. I love how Jack Posobiec responded to the news. He tweeted out, "Oh, you don't say. Thanks for the confirmation. Thanks for the corroboration that every other thinking human being already knew." But yes, a comprehensive report about the ongoing federal probe into Hunter Biden's tax filings published by the New York Times yesterday did indeed confirm the authenticity of Hunter's infamous laptop, a laptop he ditched at a Delaware repair shop back in April 2019. I live in Delaware. I can confirm for you that repair shop has since closed down because the owner was getting so many threats. He turned the laptop over to the FBI, who of course has sat on it. They covered it up because they're corrupt to the core. But the repair shop owner kept a copy of the hard drive, which contained a treasure trove of revealing emails about Biden's family business shenanigans, most especially the Biden's business dealings with the corrupt Ukrainian energy company Burisma, with plenty of pictures of Hunter's crack parties and the like. Now, of course, we have to bear in mind all of this ridiculous, anti-democratic, Putin-esque authoritarian antics engaged by big tech when the New York Post originally broke the story. When the New York Post broke its story a year and a half ago, both Facebook and Twitter blocked the story. They blocked users from being able to post links to the Post story or photos from the then unconfirmed report. You remember, Twitter was the worst. They ended up locking the Trump campaign's account, as well as his press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany's account. Even Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, homeless Jack, had to admit that the company's censoring stories and locking accounts with little to no public explanation was completely and totally, in his words, unacceptable. But of course, he did absolutely nothing about it. Well, now he's gone. He could sleep under a bridge. But as big tech was blocking the story, the mainstream media was burying it. And they buried it by disparaging it, trotting out the so-called intelligence experts, every one of which, of course, was a rabid left-wing Democrat and anti-Trumper. They trotted them out to tell us all how the laptop was nothing more than a bunch of Russian disinformation. Well, I'm glad we've gotten past that. Do you remember this story from Politico? More than 50 former intelligence officers signed a letter casting doubt on the authenticity of the laptop. It's just more Russian disinformation, they told us. And of course, when dozens of former intel officers, 50 of them, say something, well, it's got to be true. Only QAnon conspiracy theorists would think otherwise, right? Now, of course, the real news is not that the Hunter Biden laptop is real and all the humiliating photos in there and all the incriminating emails are real. We all know that. Nor is the real story the fact that it took the New York Times a year and a half to authenticate the laptop, right? That's pathetic, but it's not a story. It's just absurd. The real story in all of this is the collective coup d'etat that the mainstream media launched against President Trump during the 2020 election, with the help of the rabid left-wing deep state, of course. That's the real story. The real story in all this is the deliberate and dogmatic attempt by the New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN and MSNBC to deliberately thwart the democratic process by squelching information that could negatively impact the bumbling Biden campaign. Back in October 2016, during Trump's first presidential campaign, the journalist Barry Castleman, who was echoed by Newt Gingrich, made the argument that the mainstream media had so combined their forces against Donald Trump in favor of Hillary Clinton that he believed that we were witnessing nothing less than what he called a media coup d'etat that sought to determine the outcome for the next president of the United States before voting had even taken place. He saw, and I think he was right here, he saw nothing short of a mob mentality among the newspapers, magazines, network and cable TV, radio networks that were ganging up against Trump to deliberately influence the outcome of the 2016 election. They did the exact same thing during the 2020 campaign, but with even more vitriol and disdain and hatred for Trump and all of us who support him. And keep in mind, it wasn't all just a matter of hiding information from the public that was detrimental to Biden's campaign. It wasn't just hiding, it was fabricating and concocting information meant to harm Trump's campaign. The media wasn't just about deliberately burying news. They were guilty of falsely manufacturing news. The media literally lied. They lied 24/7 over the course of 3.5 years about the whole Russian collusion hoax. And then, of course, they did everything they possibly could to lie about Trump's call with President Zelensky of Ukraine, which was used to impeach him the first time. And then they continue to refer to January 6th as an insurrection, even though a full FBI investigation concluded it was nothing of the sort. They lied about Trump's so-called Muslim ban, and they continue to. In a USA Today article written just a couple of weeks back, the left-wing activist disguised as journalist who wrote the article continued to refer to President Trump's so-called Muslim ban, which it wasn't. It was a travel ban on 7 nations designated by the Obama administration and upheld by the Supreme Court. So they lied about that. They lied about kids in cages at the border. You remember that? Replete with pictures of Ocasio-Cortez sobbing and weeping at the outskirts of these supposed cages. Turned out she was standing in front of a freaking parking lot. They've consistently lied about election integrity laws, parroting Democrats by calling them the new Jim Crow. And now, my friends, they are lying about Ukraine as a paradise of democracy, the defense of which would justify triggering World War III. And of course, we just scratched the surface with their deceit. Unfortunately for the mainstream media and their censoring surrogates and big tech, it's all backfiring. All the deliberate deceit is backfiring. A number of pundits are coming out and admitting that. One of them is Fox News analyst Howard Kurtz. He published a piece entitled, "Why Twitter and Facebook Squelching the Hunter Biden Story Backfired." It's a good piece. It's a little dated, but it's still pretty good. And he points out that intending to smother the story, the mainstream media and big tech only ended up increasing the intrigue of the story. Now, this is a major bombshell story that came out during the campaign where the Democratic candidate for president was using his own office for his own personal benefit and profiting. And then you had a son who was profiting off of his father's office and a debauched lifestyle and all that. And the media did everything they could to bury the story, but all they did is made it more salacious and enticing. And then when you combine that with the fact that there were more than enough alternative news sites like this channel that people could access to find out information about the laptop and its controversial contents, what the media thought they could bury ended up exploding. To the point now that even the New York Times has had to admit that it was indeed authentic. We'll have to see what the FBI investigation into Hunter Biden yields, given that they're so corrupt. With all of our intelligence agencies, I'm not holding my breath. But it is good to see that fake news continues to get exposed, even by the very purveyors of it. Now, before we go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on Biden support sinking as gas prices surge. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.